6 years ago, in the Redlands on Krypton, the story begins with a young Kal-El sitting at his desk, participating in school via a video call. His classmates are all tuned in, and their teacher is handing out praise for the papers they submitted. The mood is light until the teacher gets to Kal. The teacher peers at his screen, his voice tinged with confusion as he says, "Kal, I'm confused about what you turned in here. Your story about the dangers faced by loggers in the glass forest of Eureka is quite descriptive, but it doesn't appear to employ any generative text at all. You did source this directly from the cleric's luminarium, didn't you? Now Kal? Oh, poor Kal, he isn't even looking up. The kid has his head resting on the table, utterly quiet. He whispers, barely loud enough for himself to hear, "I wrote it." But, of course, the teacher can't see him or hear him properly. "Kal, I can't see you. And please speak up," the teacher urges. With a resigned sigh, Kal slowly lifts his head, stares straight into the camera, and says firmly, "I wrote it." That gets the teacher's attention, and his confusion only deepens. "You wrote this? Yourself?" The man is at a loss for words, fumbling through his disbelief. Kal, the luminarium contains all knowledge of the Science League from throughout Kryptonian history and can answer any question we might ever possibly ask. "Why would you?" "Kal, I'd like to talk with you and your parents after class." And with that, the mood shifts, leaving a cloud of uncertainty over the young Kryptonian. But before you can dwell too long on that, the story whisks you away, far, far away to Earth, to the dense, sprawling jungles near a mine of Brazil. The scene is alive with tension. Agent Lois Lane is standing there, armed and deadly serious, pointing some kind of special weapon at Superman himself. She's not playing around. "Get on your knees. You're being detained by the authority of Lazarus Corps. On your damn knees now. Fique de joelhos," she barks, fire in her voice. And Kal-El. Even in this moment, he's calm, composed, almost distracted. But his AI suit, Sol, isn't about to let him take the hit. "Kal-El, you must flee," it advises, a calm yet insistent voice in his ear. Kal glances down at the handcuffs locking them together, as if they're just an interesting puzzle to solve. He raises his arm, which causes Lois to stumble awkwardly, and peers at the cuffs. "Okay, let me just..." He tugs experimentally before realizing, "I can't break this. What are these chuffs made of? And oh, Sol." Ever the helpful AI, it tries to correct him. "Cuffs. Kal, you are weakened. You are vulnerable here." But Kal's patience is wearing thin. "I'm chuffed to her! What do you want me to do, Sol?" "Rip her arm," Kal blurts out, clearly exasperated. Before he can finish, Lois doesn't hesitate. She shoots him point blank in the face with some kind of energy weapon. "Put your hands behind your back," she yells, determination unshaken. But here's the thing, it's Superman. The blast, it doesn't even leave a mark. Sol takes the reins, cool as ever. "I will deal with the handcuffs," it announces. And then Kal's suit responds. Oh, and what a response it is. This otherworldly lava-like energy starts to spread from the cuffs, glowing with power. It's mesmerizing and terrifying. Lois, however, isn't impressed. No, she's terrified. "This is Agent Lane," she screams into her comms. "Target's suit is reactive. It's crawling up my arm," Kal, ever the protector, pleads with Sol. "Just don't hurt her." But Sol, ever cryptic, replies, "Kal, I am not the one you should be worried about." And just then, as if on cue, the jungle comes alive with the sound of boots and weapons. An entire army swarms the scene surrounding Kal-El and Lois. Their captain steps forward, barking orders. "Freeze! In the name of Lazarus!" The soldiers demand that Kal let Lois go, their weapons aimed and ready. And then, chaos, someone fires. It's unclear who starts it, but soon enough, the jungle explodes with gunfire. They scream accusations at Kal. "He's attacking Lane! He's gonna hurt her!" The scene is pure madness. But Kal, Superman, doesn't fight back. No, he does the unthinkable. He shields Lois with his own body, taking the brunt of the attack to keep her safe. And then, it happens. His cape emerges. And let me tell you, it's not just any cape. This isn't some ordinary piece of fabric. No, it's this swirling red mist-like energy bursting from the suit in a spectacle so cool it could stop your heart. It wraps around Kal and Lois, enveloping them both in a protective cocoon, shielding them from the gunfire. It's a sight to behold. Superman, standing tall amidst the chaos, his otherworldly cape flowing like a force of nature, protecting the very person who sought to capture him. The chaos only escalates as Lois, now wrapped in the swirling red mist of Kal's cape, yells, "Let me go! Get this thing off me!" Her voice is frantic, a mix of fear and frustration. Kal-El, still firmly tethered to her, can't help but throw his hands up in exasperation and asks his AI companion Sol, "Did she forget she's the one who chuffed me?" And Sol, ever the analyst, replies with an eerily calm tone, "Fascinating. This metal reforms itself as quickly as I can sever it. This will take some time. Cal groans, his patience stretched to its breaking point. We don't have time. I can't do this for. But before he can finish the thought, Lois shoots him in the face. Again. It's absurdly comedic at this point, and Cal, wide-eyed with disbelief, locks eyes with her and deadpans, "Stop doing that!" Lois, not backing down an inch, snaps back, "Oh, so now you're talking to me." Cal throws his hands out dramatically. "Yes, because you're making it very difficult to save your life." Lois doesn't miss a beat. "Lazarus doesn't want you dead, just on your knees. Do it, and this'll all be over." Cal turns to Saul, gesturing at the cuffs, as if they're the greatest inconvenience in the universe. "The chuffs." Saul, ever the patient teacher, corrects him yet again. "Cuffs and not yet." Cal sighs, visibly frustrated now, then use the dust to hold on to her. Lois, catching that last bit, yells at him, "Hey, talk to me, pal!" "I'm right here. I'm the only one who can help you." But Cal's focus isn't on her anymore. He speaks directly to Saul, his voice firm. "Don't let this tear her in half." "What?" Lois screams as Cal suddenly launches into the air, the ground beneath them giving way with a deafening crack. He's not flying, not yet. No, it's one of those raw, primal leaps that sends him soaring through the sky like an unstoppable force of nature. Lois is clinging to him, her anger momentarily replaced by sheer panic. Down below, the soldiers, the so-called peacemakers, are losing their minds. "Holy hell, he's flying!" one of them shouts, his voice barely audible over the commotion. Their commander cuts in sharply, barking at them to regain focus. "Hey, keep this channel clear of grab-ass. Act like peacemakers." "Understood," another soldier reports, though his voice is tinged with awe. "Target is airborne, requesting permission to engage." The reply is cold, clinical. "Permission granted, but the director wants the target intact. The Brainiac system suggests chem rounds, level 11. Though I can't guarantee the safety of the agent," a soldier warns. "Nobody's asking you to, Peacemaker," the commander shoots back. "Copy that. Lazarus means life." The soldier responds ominously before unleashing the missiles. Massive projectiles labeled "Peace at all costs" streak across the sky, blazing toward Kal-El and Lois. Cal sees them coming, his instincts kicking in. "Saul, I see it," Saul replies smoothly, already calculating. The missiles hit their target, a deafening explosion that sends shockwaves through the jungle. But the red mist of Cal's cape swirls and expands, absorbing the impact like a shield forged in the depths of Kryptonian hell. It's breathtaking, a storm of power and energy that leaves Cal and Lois untouched. Then, through the smoke and destruction, Cal descends. Not like a man, no. Like a god descending from the heavens, carrying Lois Lane in his arms. But here's the thing, I think. He's not flying. Not yet. He just jumps like he did in other comics when he was first discovering his powers. He lands in a fiery crater, the raw force of his leap leaving the ground beneath him cracked and smoldering. He's in full protector mode now, his face calm, but his eyes burning with determination. And then, because irony loves to strike at the best moments, the funniest thing happens. Lois, still cuffed to Superman, shoots him in the face again. The blast fizzles uselessly, and Kal-El, blinking in disbelief, doesn't even bother reacting. Instead, Lois calmly raises her free hand to her comms and declares, "This is Agent Lane. Suspect leaped due east, approximately 8 miles to the town of..." But before she can finish the sentence, Cal, now thoroughly over this entire ordeal, sighs and mutters, "Jam her transmission." "Already done," Saul replies with the tone of an AI that's been waiting for this request all day. Around them, a small village emerges from the haze, its inhabitants staring in awe and terror at the figure who just fell from the sky. To them, he's not just a man, he's something more, something terrifying and magnificent. A savior, a destroyer, something they've never seen before. But the reverence quickly sours into confusion as they witness Superman and Lois Lane arguing like bickering siblings. "I just saved your life, several times, and you want to arrest me for it?" Cal says, gesturing dramatically as if Lois's logic is physically painful to him. Lois, not missing a beat, fires back. "No, you willfully endangered my life by trying to escape lawful custody, which you're not going to do." Cal throws his hands up in frustration. "You endanger everyone by being whatever the hell it is you are." "What are you?" Lois narrows her eyes, and with that trademark razor-sharp tone of hers, she counters, "Just another child of the dirt, trying to get by." Cal answers with surprising sincerity. "Oh right," Lois scoffs, "so you're a hippie who's bulletproof and can jump really far. Is it the suit that makes you special? Who is Saul? People have a right to know." Cal glares at her, his voice dripping with disdain. "Since when does Lazarus Corps give a damn about anyone's rights? We're all just a bunch of livestock to people like you." Lois steps closer, her voice low and dangerous. "You don't know any people like me, Sunshine, believe me." But Cal is done holding back. He takes a step toward her, his voice sharp and biting. Arrogant, cares only about herself. Angry at anyone you think isn't as smart as you, which is usually everyone who opens their mouth in your vicinity. You're everything that's wrong with your planet. Lois pauses, her voice cold and cutting as she replies, "My planet, huh?" It's Soul's voice that cuts through the rising tension, calm yet filled with alarm. "Stop talking, Kal-El. Stop talking right now." But Cal doesn't listen, his anger still bubbling. "She's not worth talking to anyway," he growls, then directs his frustration to Soul. "Would you get these cuffs off already?" And then, just to make everything worse, Lois presses on. "So, what's your planet?" Before Cal can respond, the air explodes with the sound of gunfire. The Peacemakers, relentless as ever, open fire. Their commander's voice echoes over their comms, barking orders to engage. Cal, hearing the chaos, shifts gears instantly. His voice booms through the village. "Everyone, get out of the streets. Get somewhere safe." He surveys the scene, spotting a car nearby, and suddenly picks it up as though it weighs nothing. He turns to Lois, fire in his eyes. "Do you see? This is what Lazarus thinks of us. These people are not your playthings." And with that, Cal hurls the car through the air with a force that shakes the ground. The vehicle slams into the helitank, the sound of impact echoing like thunder. The massive flying tank spirals out of control, crashing down into the village. Cal's voice thunders again as he turns to Lois and the villagers. "These are the people of steel." His words are filled with conviction, a declaration of defiance against Lazarus Corps. As the helitank explodes, Cal leaps into action, his red mist cape swirling with purpose. "The Sunstone dust will shield you," he says, his voice calm but commanding as the cape moves like a living thing, wrapping itself around panicked villagers, shielding them from the fire and shrapnel. He moves through the chaos with determination, shielding everyone he can, the explosions painting the sky behind him. To these villagers, Cal isn't just a man. He's hope, he's fury, he's something they'll tell stories about for generations. We then start getting narrations from a report Lane writes up as it say, "Lazarus Field Agent After Action Report, Lages Creek Incident." My first thought was that it had to be the suit. But while the subject's advanced battle suit does display otherworldly properties, possibly including some level of sentience, after direct observation, this agent can say with profound certainty, it isn't the suit. This Superman is plenty super, all on his own. The full extent of subject's powers remains uncharted. It is my impression that even he does not fully understand the limits of his abilities, as if this is all relatively new to him as well. In some ways, Superman is very much still a boy, one who hasn't yet fully deciphered who he is. In other ways, he is every bit a man, with an ethos that seems unshakable. Subject switches from a shy, soft-spoken demeanor to a more confident, commanding presence, depending on circumstance, without either facet coming across as an affectation. This feels like a man who cannot help but be earnest, who could never lie, even if he needed to. We know from the other sightings that he has traveled the globe. He speaks multiple languages, but somehow he still has the air of a lost child, of a life in some way interrupted, of a son without a home. A deep mistrust of authority seems ingrained. Suspect will prove quite difficult to coerce or apprehend. Despite repeated attempts, this agent never really had a chance. Suggested course of action, further study. Intense study. I hereby formally request a full-time Superman assignment. Agent Lane's private notes. He smelled like oak barrels full of burgundy, stored for 1,000 years in a musty basement. He smelled amazing. And as the smoke clears, the chaos subsides, and the village finds itself safe once more, something remarkable happens. The swirling red mist, the living substance that protected Kal-El and the villagers, coalesces, pulling back toward him. The fragments of the mist gather, shift, and transform until Superman's suit reappears, whole and unscathed, forming seamlessly around his body. The villagers stare in awe, their faces lit with wonder and fear at the mysterious figure before them. Cal turns to Lois, who is still recovering from the spectacle. For once, she's at a loss for words. He looks her in the eyes and says simply, "Thank you." Lois stammers, clearly caught off guard. You did all the, That is, you're welcome." She waves her hand vaguely at the chaos behind him, unable to put her thoughts into coherent sentences. But Cal doesn't linger on her awkwardness. He takes a deep breath and begins to speak. His voice quieter now, introspective. There's a place in the Arctic Ocean, Svalbard Islands. It's got more polar bears than people. The sun sometimes shines for days on end, but when it's night, you can see more stars than you could possibly imagine. So many of those stars, they're orbited by nothing but chunks of rock and methane. Do people have any idea how precious a place this is? Lois watches him closely, unsure where he's going with this. Cal continues, his tone tinged with longing. I'm a child of one of those sons of nothing. Do you know my planet? Lois leans in slightly, her curiosity piqued. What are you trying to say? Cal's voice softens, his words heavy with emotion. My planet was called. But before he can finish, the cuffs that bound them suddenly release with a faint hiss. Cal looks down at his now free wrists in surprise. Then without hesitation he crouches and prepares to leap. Wait, don't just let me. Lois starts, reaching out to him, but it's too late. In a single bound he's gone, vanishing into the horizon like a shooting star. She stands there stunned and speechless, her hands still midair. Later, in a cold, sterile Lazarus Corps facility, Agent Lois Lane sits at a console, her face illuminated by the pale glow of the screen. Brainiac's voice, calm, clinical, and unrelenting, fills the room. How grave of a danger would you rank the subject on a scale of 1 to 10? The system asks. Lois leans forward, considering her words carefully. I wouldn't rank him as a danger at all. Not in that way. He's incredibly powerful, yes, and still raw in some ways, but I don't think he's looking for a fight. Brainiac interrupts, its tone unwavering. Ranking of 8 noted. Lois straightens, frustrated. No, that's not what I was, but Brainiac cuts her off again. Do you feel the threat warrants neutralization, or can Superman be controlled? Lois shakes her head firmly. No, he can't be controlled. Brainiac replies with chilling indifference. Agent advises termination. So noted. Damn it, you're not listening. Stupid computer! Lois yells, slamming her fist against the console. The screen flickers for a moment before the system calmly replies. This completes your after-action report. The Brainiac algorithm thanks you. At that moment, one of her colleagues, perhaps a superior, perhaps just another agent, enters the room. He smirks as he sees her fuming at the screen. All right, Lane, sounds like you're done. Go ahead and get out of here. Nice work today. Lois turns to him, still visibly frustrated. I don't think I'm done with my report. Her colleague raises an eyebrow. What? I know what the automated system said, but I think I need to write this report myself, she says, her tone resolute. The man chuckles. But you hate writing reports. Nobody hates writing reports more than you. Lois glares at him. Yes, but it's important I get my thoughts down accurately. My thoughts, not Brainiac's. He shrugs, backing away. Fine, do what you want. Good luck. As he leaves, Lois takes a deep breath and sets her hands on the keyboard. Her determination is palpable. She knows this report matters. This isn't just a mission report. It's her attempt to make sense of the man who fell from the sky, the man she cuffed and tried to arrest, but who saved her life, and so many others, without hesitation. And folks, this is the report containing the narrations we received from her earlier. The scene shifts back in time to Krypton, a world of majestic spires and glowing crystalline landscapes. Outside a modest home in the Redlands, a young Kal-El bursts out the door, his dog Crypto bounding excitedly beside him. A power outage. Come on, Crypto. Let's hurry before the clerics decide to turn the lights back on, he calls, his laughter echoing across the open fields. The boy and his dog disappear into the distance, chasing adventure under the dimming light of Krypton's red sun. Inside the house, the mood is far more serious. Cal's parents, Jor-El and Lara, stand in a makeshift workshop, illuminated by the faint glow of a sunstone crystal. The room is cluttered with tools, schematics, and parts of what appears to be a suit unlike anything Krypton has ever seen. Jor-El inspects the partially assembled creation, his brow furrowed. Has it been field tested, he asks, his voice tinged with both skepticism and hope. Lara doesn't even look up from her work as she replies, her hands deftly piecing together intricate components. You mean in outer space, Jor-El? I built this when I was 12 years old. The numbers hold up. The design is solid, an exploratory spacesuit and rocket ship all in one. Yes, I believe it'll work. But, she pauses, her gaze turning toward the dwindling Sunstone supply. We're going to need a lot more Sunstone. Jor-El crosses his arms, his expression hardening. Then we'll get it. Enough Sunstone to make a ship big enough to get everyone off Krypton safely. Lara hesitates, her voice lowering. And if the Science League won't listen to what you have to tell them? Jor-El clenches his fists, determination burning in his eyes. Then I'll steal all the Sunstone I can carry, and you will build a ship big enough to hold everyone we love. Their conversation is cut short by the sound of young Kal-El's laughter outside, and for a brief moment, the weight of their grim task is softened by the innocence of their son. They share a look, one that carries equal parts fear and hope. The narrative shifts to the present day, where Kal-El, now Superman, makes his way to Venezuela. His movements are swift, purposeful, as though he's following an unspoken call. At the same time, we see Lois Lane finishing her report in a dimly lit Lazarus Corps facility. She leans back in her chair, the final words of her handwritten report resting on the page before her. But then the tone shifts. The camera pans back to the village Superman just saved, now a smoking ruin. Peacemaker soldiers stalk through the remains, their boots crunching on broken debris, their faces cold and unfeeling. A frightened villager pleads for mercy, only to be silenced by a soldier's rifle. "We'll teach them that peace has a price," one soldier snarls, shooting at the villagers. That's it for this chapter, folks. If you love the video, help us grow. Subscribe.